So, Dogman.
Dogman. So, I love this book. I was very excited for the trailer. 80 people saw it. That's more than average. So, I'm going to go through every single book that I have, but they're all in French, which translation might be rough, but who cares? So, book one, great start. Four main plot points, basically three stories. There's a fourth one at the end, I'm pretty sure. And it starts with, one, how Dogman is made. Violent as hell. And it started with Dogman, or a dog and a guy that were called it because there was a bomb, but it was planted by Pity, which is the villain of these. So, they go, and then because the dog made the guy cut the wrong wire because he was colorblind, they had to get life-saving surgery because both the guy's head and the dog's body, they were kaputs. So, yeah, that's kind of grim. And right off the bat, he gets out and Pity is like, dang it, I need to stop this guy. So, because of that, he makes a huge vacuum. That vacuum is basically what makes Dogman actually treated equally, because before he was not treated well. Why? And right after that, there's some green villain, Dr. whatever, and that's basically all I hear about the first one. So, yeah, get the book if you want to read it. Okay, book two. It starts with Dogman inside of a meeting with a bunch of other cops because it's the chief's birthday. For his birthday, decided to get a couple other things and a fish. The fish is the main thing. So Dogman goes to the pet store to buy a fish, and he doesn't really get any luck after destroying basically the entire place. So because of that, they decide to give him an evil fish. Very scary fish, by the way. So, after that, birthday, boom. Now we go to Pity. Pity is basically the cat from the first book that blew him up and was the villain. So he's in prison now, and he needs to find a way to escape. So he grabs a piece of paper, cut out of himself, and colors it. Then he basically just walks out of there. So after that, we follow Pity still, where he's got a love ray, which basically just makes anybody fall deeply in love with him and do whatever they say just for that. And there you go. Now he is absolutely loaded, but he accidentally fell off of his thing because Dogman tried to stop him. Boom, right to prison because he did not want to get absolutely violated by those people. Because they're deeply in love. Then we follow the paper cutout. So, there's these things of canisters which basically just grants anything life. Usually makes them evil though. And because of that spray, the paper cutout comes to life and is evil. Wow, that's crazy. And he goes to a store with some sort of monk guy and proceeds to mind control him with mind control spray, get another one of those spray bottles, and then get a T-Rex. After a battle, he's in the mountains with the guys. The guys are out of the mind control and they're trying to stop him. But because they're in deep tundra mountains, they are freezing to death, and because he's made out of paper, he can't freeze to death. That sucks. So, because of that, Dogman licked him, he froze, they sled down, and once he unthaws, he gets chased around by a pair of alive scissors. Boom. And then, remember that one fish that I briefly touched? Don't take that out of context. So, that one fish is actually, surprise, surprise, a villain now. Because one of the presents that the chief got was memory things, which made his brain expand exponentially. So, he gave him psychic powers, and he tries to kill, or tries to do something with them, but because he's in the mountains, because he chased them, he dies. But he managed to channel his spirit, and he tries to take over the chief's body. Uh-oh. And Fails because Dogman, of course. It's a kid's book. If it wasn't, uh-oh. Book 3. Probably, like, the main plot point which made all the other books so much more different than the first two. 1. Big Jim's introduced. We love Big Jim. He's part of so many books that I can't touch it because this is going to be an hour long. So, Big Jim's introduced. Pity escapes prison and gets a clone/son, but because the clone machine isn't fully made, it starts out as a baby. And then after that, because he can't find his son after feeling guilty, he makes a robot called ADHD. I am not even kidding. Before, probably one of the best books. It's the first one that I read for some reason. Don't know why. So, it starts basically the same. Pity, his son, Dogman's adopted son now, I guess. And who really cares? There's big fight action sequence after failed movie production. They get superhero costumes, and they scrambled Pity. Great. If you want more stuff, I'm going to have a link in the description for all the books. So yeah. Book 5. There's 3 villains, Coco, Bob, Porky, mech battles, stuff going on. Brandon, and all the villains get shrinked in this book, I'm pretty sure. And by the way, Pity is a little bit less evil now. Okay, Book 6. Amazing book. I have way more notes on this one than the past 3. So we're halfway through. Dogman gets framed, goes to prison. That sucks. Pity and his son make a robot together. He gets nicer. And then the chief and ADHD broke Dogman out of prison. You get back, and there's a news reporter and a Hawaiian lady, which are in a couple books, but they aren't really that important, I think. And they beat up the fake Dogman because they know that the real Dogman's in prison. So, it reveals that the past ones were part of the villains from last book. That sucks. And there's this huge clay monster that was used with the stupid, revival spray or something like that, which made him come to life and go through the screen, and proceeds to try to kill everyone there. So, big fight, Dogman and him get locked in a cave. Who wins? The dog or huge clay monster? Of course, the dog, because he ate the freaking clay monster. Book 7. Pity helped save people in the last books. Now he gets released from prison. That's amazing. So, he gets custody of his son, and he also... Yeah. So, you know that one guy from, the first book, which is, the doctor or something? Yeah. Who remembers him? He's the villain of Book 7, and there's, these huge big balls that are chasing him around. Don't take that out of context. Who cares? This is all about Pity in this book. So, we find Pity's dad, which hasn't been in any of the past books, which, amazing. His dad finally came back after he was in prison for so many times. He got released. This should be a great book, and this should be one of the best characters. Right? No, his dad's an absolute asshole and steals absolutely everything at the end. Because, I don't know, he's a douche. Book 8 follows Pity's dad and some fat tooth fairy with some very bad anger problems. So, after a bit, they accidentally made a bunch of those psychic tadpoles. There's 22 of them. Which is on the French book cover. You should know this. So, because of that, there is this huge battle that tries to destroy the city. And, yeah. It introduces one of the worst characters, which is one of the freaking tadpoles that are psychic now. And it reintroduces one of the best characters, which is the freaking fish, which was turned into a cyborg in, I'm pretty sure, Book 5. That might be wrong. You should buy the books. So, because of that, this freaking fish is now a dad of 22, and most of the tadpoles are nice now and don't have the psychic powers, but one of them is nice and I hate them, and they become a tadpole. And they're part of a book series, which I'm going to do another one on. Book 9. Why is the cover so good, but it has one of my least favorite characters on it? Pitty's dad. Wow. So, because of that, it goes way too hard, and that was not an accident, I hope. And it follows that Dogman got fired, and little Pitty, which is Pitty's son, made a hat for him that turned him into a cat. Don't ask me the logic about that. So, Pitty's dad got juiced up in prison because of some stupid helmet that he made and becomes very stupid. So he tries to take over the world, and remember that one tadpole? So yeah, that one has psychic powers, and his dad also has psychic powers, and there's now 21 of those stupid frogs, which there's a book series about that, because of course why not? So, because of that, near the end, he gets defeated by the psychic fish and the psychic tadpole. Boo-hoo, you should have done better. So, book 10. 2 more books after this. This is probably one of the best books, if not the best book, because of what it did for Pitty's backstory. So, I'm just going to follow Pitty and Dogman for this one, because those are the 2 big things in this. So, Dogman gets a mini-mech because he broke his hands, and he has a cone now because of toilet that fell on him. It's a children's book, you should remember this. So, because of that, he gets put into a mech and he defeats the villains after their normal shenanigans. But Pitty, why Dave? Like, Dave, what made you make Pitty's mom the only person that was raising him, so a single mother, which took care of him, they were in poverty, and she died when he was a kid? Why? Why, Dave? I'm not gonna sleep anymore. Why do you do this to me? That is so bad. Why? Book 11. Squeeze between 2 of the best books ever, so it's meh. Book 10 and 12, way better than it. Probably the best books. The villain is the stupid Porky Pig, which gets beat up by the chef and yeah, and some other guys. But Chef now has a girlfriend, which is some nurse that was in book 10. I skipped that part because it's such a good book. I don't know why it is. Book 12, The Big Daddy, the newest one. Let's see what it has in store and what I wrote down in my notes here. So, newest book, we all know that. And because of it's the newest book, it probably has some of the darker tones, which, amazing. But the first little bit of the book is very goofy because Dogman becomes red because he was sprayed by a skunk and dunked in whatever. But because the chef got married, there's a very corrupt chief now, and the judge has always been corrupt. That's, like, why do you think that their system is so bad? And because of that, Dogman goes to jail. But before he goes to jail, Pitty makes a deal to basically sell himself into slave labor to make a robot that makes it so that Dogman doesn't go to prison. Okay. So you remember that one, like, doctor from, like, 2 books? You know? The one with the balls and the one from the first book? So yeah, he makes a bunch of robots that replace people, and it basically just makes the Earth dystopian, and yeah. It doesn't really matter if you don't remember this. It's a new book. And yeah. So, to defeat the robots, Pitty flies in a plane after breaking his slave contract. Why, Dave? And yeah, he turns off the robots. Big boom. So, now we go back to Pitty's backstory. And this one makes it so much worse. So, Pitty and his mom are in the hospital because Pitty got hurt from something. After they get back from their hospital trip, Pitty and his mom loses their house because of something that got evicted. So Pitty's mom has to only move her son into a home because she can't afford rent for 2 people. So yeah, she basically just sends her son to a home, and that's where you meet Big Jim when he's a kid. So when Big Jim's a kid, it gets revealed that both his parents died when he was very young. And now that I say this out loud, it kind of sounds like because his mother couldn't provide for him correctly, she had to sell herself on the streets. So, Dave, why do you make this character so deaf? And I'm like, god damn.